Hello Leo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Leo April 2022 Astrology Must Knows Horoscope Forecast. Definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, or if you are viewing on YouTube, then you can click on the little more button to the bottom right of the video to reveal the notes for all the links to see all the free goodies I make for you each month. And also welcome to my very fast growing syndicated podcast, Astro Kisses listeners. So you can look in the notes underneath each of the podcasts to reveal where you can go to find more free goodies from me. April is one of my favorite months of the whole year. We're going to talk about why, all of the must-knows. This is for you if Leo is your sun sign or your moon sign or your rising sign or whatever Leo placement you watch for, Venus, Mercury, Mars, anything. This is going to be part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Leo, then so like August 15th through the rest of the sign, or like 25 or so degrees, 23 to 25 degrees to the rest of the sign, I always suggest that you additionally listen to or watch my Virgo report, because you very late degree people have a more complex read and you can get benefits from both of the readings. So let's talk about why April is one of my favorite months of the year. If you've listened to my March report, you know that March is one of my other favorite months of the whole year. And there are some similarities in these months. One of the biggest reasons I love this month is because we have 2 times the sweet aspects compared to salty ones. So that means that the planets are speaking each other's language and they're in accord, and there are very few skirmishes or arguments that are going on in the stars. And we definitely feel that in the general astrological climate. Now, how that translates into your individual chart is sometimes a little bit different, because if you have things hitting off in a big way, that can supersede some of these general transits. But the general climate of the month is very sweet, very harmonious, very connected, and that is rare. And it's exciting. The next big must know is that we are still in this big open period from March 3rd through April 27th. We are free of personal planet retrogrades. The personal planet retrogrades mean confusion, plans changing, uncertainty being cast in and not being able to see 2 feet ahead of you, and things going inwards and backwards, and sort of blocks to, productivity and forward movement. And that's all the retrograde story, but that's not the story of this month. So this window from March 3rd through April 27th is completely free of personal planet retrogrades and their shadow periods. It's only one of 2 such periods in this whole year, because last year and this year we have extra retrograde energy. First it was Venus, which carried into this year. Then at the latter part of the year, September, we start the shadow period for Mars retrograde. Doesn't have to be a bad thing. As I always talk about, retrogrades have so many wonderful implications, and there are so many things that it's even better to do during a retrograde. But it is still a retrograde, which means that the tides are coming in. And when the tides are coming in, it's not the time to do the things it's time to do when it's direct. Okay, so from June 19th through August 21st is our other big open window, but I like this window, the March-April one, the best for impetus and forward movement because of the Aries energies that are happening at the same time. And that's especially great for Leo, which we'll get into a little bit later. But what are the kinds of things it's great to do when the energies are direct in this month of April? Big contracts, agreements, moves, big purchases, big sales, remodels. Anything having to do with launching your big dreams, new businesses, publishing, anything having to do with travel. Travel during this time will generally have a lot less uncertainty and plan changes compared to doing it in a retrograde. So even though retrogrades are fine for travel, it's definitely a little more dicey and a little more last minute, and you have to be more flexible. But for anything like a big party or engagement, wedding, anything that requires meticulous planning that you want to go through in the way that you're planning it or similar, this is a fantastic month for all of those things. Investments, in general, this is a very great month for clarity. Now, while we still do have some of that foggy Neptunian and Piscean energy, and we do have a big pile up, which we'll talk about that later as well, there's still the Aries energies are coming through and plowing into this fog that we've been experiencing and bringing more clarity, bringing more certainty, bringing more impetus, and bringing more resources to move forward. So it's time to do it, whatever it is. And you'll know what it is. And and I think you'll be very excited. Leo people, like me, I'm a fire sign with a fire rising. We're action-oriented people, so we get a little bogged down in the retrograde sometimes because we want to have action and forward movement. So now is your time. Another major must-know, which we're going to get into more later, but I have to mention it now so that you're aware, is that we are in the heat of eclipse season. We have the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle, April 30th, solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Taurus. It's activating a lot of big life changes. And so expect a very big time. You will be going through things, people around you will be going through things, and later in the report, we'll drill down into exactly where you'll see those types of changes in your chart. But for now, I just want you to know that it's flavoring the month, because you may feel like you have your finger stuck in an electric socket for an extended period of time. It could be very exciting, like things that you've been always wanting to happen are happening, or it could be very kind of like you know that something's going to happen and you don't know what it is and you feel uncertain, and it's just a little bit nerve-wracking, but there's enough other sweetness that I hope will mitigate some of that. Okay, so let's get back to these Aries placements. When the planets move through Aries, they make a 120-degree angle with your Leo placements that light your fire. It's a time where your creativity and love and expression and travel and just everything fiery and active, your passion projects, everything is just ignited in amazing ways. And you will feel it because we've been going through a period of time where that has not been going on. And I'm sure you've also been feeling that. So if you've been kind of like bored or uninspired or just kind of like meh, you don't really know or care too much about doing, just there's less oomph in what you're bringing, then you will start to notice, and this will start in March and it will be very strong in April. So that's definitely something to celebrate for Leos. Now, this is also aspecting and bringing to life your 9th house, which means that it could be time to learn a language. It could be time to travel to a different country. It could be time for immigration things to come through for you. Your perfect education program might come in, or you expressing yourself as a teacher. You might get your dream job or an opportunity to teach, or do something with international business just right from your home, or make some very interesting international connections, including romantic international connections. So there's a lot that's bringing the world to who you are and how you are, and bringing who you are and how you are to the world. So that also could be through publishing or through speaking. And this 9th house is also the area of your optimism, your viewpoint, how you see the world. So the chances that you're seeing things more positively and that more, spiritual perspectives and or solution-oriented perspectives are coming in. You could have a breakthrough that changes how you see things that can change your life just because you're seeing things differently now. This also involves, for some people, work with churches or organizations that do spiritual work, even if they're non-denominational. So connecting with spirit and doing that with other people and supporting and teaching and inspiring other people is also something that could be coming up in a big way for you now. Okay, so something else that is a big must know is we do still have Pisces energies and Aquarius energies, and those are still lighting up your relationship sectors. You've got short and long-term energies that are really bringing your relationships to deeper levels. Some of you may have had your partner come in during the cycles of Saturn and Jupiter moving through these placements in recent years. Plus, we have a lot of short-term energy that's giving you oomph and impetus to make accord with someone you're in an argument with, or to collaborate with someone, or to go deeper with them, or to attract your perfect partner. And this is a time where you are still in the zone where Jupiter is bringing that potential to you, as is Saturn. Saturn can be, a little heavy sometimes, but it does bring the energy of long-term stability, which some people want in their relationship. And so between Jupiter acting in the 8th house and Saturn's acting in the 7th house, you really have a chance to build some long-term relationships, expand them, and they're also, the energies are additive. Okay, so in this time you might have met your perfect partner, then you added getting engaged or married, and then you might add having a child, or might add going into business together. It's like this additive effect. So look for those types of things happening. And you'll be really motivated to work on these things, or you'll have impetus that's forcing you to work on them, because the fact that Mars is there, I always call Mars the border collie of the zodiac. And wherever it is, it's kind of like we're hot on that topic. You know, I have a border collie and she always brings me pine needles, and she stares at the pine needle and she's obsessed with the pine needle, and it's all about the pine needle. And so it's like that energy is what you've got going on in the 7th house. So you're really looking for these relationships, close relationships, more superficial ones that are supportive or collaborative. You're looking for the people that speak your language. You're looking for the people that you can trust and that you resonate with, and building your solid group of, you know, a support system, and in some ways a family too. You know, we have our blood family, and then we have other people that feel like family. So you're in a process of building your extended family and the people that you can count on, and showing up for them as well. So that's very exciting. Okay, so in the Pisces energy spectrum, we have some things to talk about here. Okay, so we talked about how they're activating your 8th house. Your 8th house is very, very, very strongly impacted now. First of all, because Jupiter's there. Second of all, because Jupiter and Neptune are going to get together. And this is a big deal. Whenever we have outer planets combining, it's something that brings long-term manifestations and impacts everyone globally down to the individual. So this is so important, in fact, that I did a separate video on Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. So you can search for Annie Botticelli, Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, or you can find it on my homepage. It will be syndicated to my podcast as well. And I'll go into a lot of details in those, you know, the recordings about what you can expect, because there are a lot of manifestations we're not going to go into here. But for our purposes here, what I want to talk about is that March, April, May, this is lighting up your 8th house. There are challenges that can come from it. A conjunction is not a clear manifestation, meaning like a trine or a 60-degree angle. Those are just pretty clearly sweet. A square or an opposition, they pretty clearly have challenges, and they can have good stuff come from the challenges, but after the conflict or drama. But a conjunction is something where it can go either way or both. So the odds are that you'll see some mischief and that you'll see some magic are greatly increased. And this all has to do with your money and your spousal money, your inheritances, estate planning. If you want a loan, this might be the big time. If you want that angel investor or somebody, you know, you've had a lot of energy. You've been hearing me talk about this for you for months and even longer, that this energy has been present. And now this is another big boom where something crazy big can occur in one of those areas, okay, where it brings in, you know, money. Maybe you get a check from somewhere that you didn't expect and it really helps you, or you get that financing, or you make a big sale and it sets you up for a long time. But intuition is going to carry very strongly now. So if something doesn't feel right, you really have to take that seriously, because these Neptunian energies are really connecting you into the lesser seen space. So if something looks good on paper and it's like, oh, this should be looking good, but it doesn't feel right, you really have to go with the not feeling right thing over it looking good on paper, because Spirit is going to be speaking to you in the language of Spirit, which can come through synchronicity, which can come through dreams, which can come through other intuition or other signs. So be on the lookout for those things. Now, because this is happening in an angle that's challenging for you, it might either come with some work that you have to do to get to the goal, or it might come with a little stress. But again, it could have a good outcome, but it's definitely a little bit awkward. But fortunately, you do have a lot of that fire energy with, you know, Aries supporting and lighting everything up. So I am hoping that that helps to mitigate any challenges that come from any of these other placements, which still have a massive amount of positive potentials, like a massive amount. The last time this transit happened was in 1856. So this is a really, really long time since Jupiter and Neptune got together in Pisces. Now, Jupiter and Neptune get together in different signs every 12-ish years, which is still a long cycle. But them getting together in Pisces is a fairly monumental experience with very long-lasting implications, which I talk about in that separate video. Okay, so now let's drill down into the Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle, when it's happened before, what kinds of things we can see from eclipses and that particular cycle. And then we'll drill down into exactly where you are going to see this in your chart and in your life. Okay, so let's talk about some general implications of eclipses and some dates and frames of reference. And then we'll dive into the details about where you're going to see the eclipse changes in your chart and in your life. So eclipses bring big changes. They are connected to the North and South node, which are calculated points on the ecliptic that relate to our highest expression in this lifetime, our dharma, fate and destiny, our karma, and activating our hidden gifts. And so you'll see a very big activation time. You'll feel the hand of the divine at work through synchronicity and non-negotiable trajectory shifts, major hellos and goodbyes, big windows closing and other ones opening. Eclipses tend to bring a lot of stress and drama. They can also bring a massive amount of manifestation, things that you've always wanted in many cases. So it's definitely a time where you feel like your finger's stuck in an electric socket for an extended period of time. So from the middle of March to the middle of June, we are in eclipse season. The eclipses are on April 30th and on May 16th. And this first eclipse is going to be on April 30th. It's a solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Taurus. All right, so this Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle started towards the end of 2021. We started to really heat that up September, October of 2021 and really felt it through January of 2022. And we are in this cycle until the end of 2023. Anything can happen from this storyline of the Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle at any time during these years, but it does tend to heat up and bring into the forefront, into our consciousness 6 weeks before and after the actual eclipses. That's why I said the middle of March, and then we've got one on May 16th, so we've got like to the middle end of June. This is our eclipse season, and it's very ripe with the types of things that we just listed. Now, to have a frame of reference as to the types of changes that might occur or storylines, think about the latter part of 2012 through the end of 2014. And also think about early 2004 through mid-2005. It's important to note, and I do often get this question, if something terrible happened then, does it mean something terrible is going to happen now? No, not necessarily, because there were other factors at play at that time, and it's hard to tell what changes were due to the combination of factors in those times, which might not be present at this time. But there are definitely themes that occurred at that time that are going to be coming back around now, and we'll go into the details of that for your sign here in a second, but just to kind of give some context, if you remember back to those periods of time, and the types of changes that happened then. You might see some parallels, some opportunities to make different choices, some lessons that were learned in that time frame that you are able to come back around now, and some patterns of experience, even for better or could be for worse, that you're still clearing through that could come back around for you to do some more work on. For every sign, Taurus and Scorpio relates to my stuff and our stuff. My individual sustainability, our coupleship or our relationship, your resources versus your resources shared with other people like the government or your spouse or your family, inheritances, sweepstakes, winnings, plus your individual income. This is the polarity we're talking about. So the push and pull between me and we and us and our stuff and my stuff is very strong. The material realm versus the intangible spiritual realm are all things that are going to come up into the forefront for all signs. Okay, so now that we have more information about this eclipse cycle, let's drill down into where this is going to be for Leos. From the whole house perspective, all Leos are going to see the effects of this eclipse, and this is a solar eclipse bringing in new, fresh energy, new stories, new chapters in your work, employment, career, recognition, on your highest path, like your dharma, what you're trying to do in this lifetime. And that is a big key, especially for those of you who are not interested in employment or money, because what we're here to do isn't always linked up with what we're making money through. And you might have a passion project if you're retired or if you're independently wealthy. You might have a passion project or something that's been nagging at you or calling to you to do, which might have nothing to do with your vocation or your income. And so all of those things can light up in a very big way, very exciting opportunities. And this is in a square. Okay, so we have to talk about that. A square angle is a pressure angle, and a pressure angle is one that requires work. Sometimes it has a little drama or heaviness, but it doesn't have to be bad. Sometimes a square is just the pressure that comes from you working hard to accomplish something that you want. Or like, let's say you get a new job and it requires more of a learning curve at the beginning and you have to work a little harder, to get everything situated. That is pressure and stress, but it's not bad stress and it's not bad pressure, right? So there are different types of pressure. And when we look at a 90-degree angle, it's not necessarily saying that it's bad pressure, but you will feel it. You will feel that there is some kind of impetus. There is something you have to push through. It could be fear. It could be technology. You could be a person who wasn't in a generation where technology was normal for you. And maybe the things that you want to do or have to do involve you braving the tech curve. Things like that, where it's like there's something you want on the other side of something that's standing between you and what you want. And you have the opportunity, you have the impetus, you have the drive, you have all of these Aries energies, this open window pushing you, giving you great momentum to blast through whatever that thing is that's standing between you and what you want. So either it will be revealed to you without you trying to do anything, what the problem is and what you want and how to get there, or you can spend some time pondering this. What is it that you want? What is that thing that's standing in the way? What do you have to do to get there? Put your plan together and do it. And that's what's happening. Now, for some of you, this could involve a male member of your family or someone that carries male energy. Sometimes someone like, for example, a single mom who had to do both the mom and dad stuff, that mom could carry a lot of male energy and she could show up in this 10th house. People who, identify more with a male role regardless of what their gender is, and that person is someone important to you, those energies are coming up very strongly now. So someone in your life that has that energy might need you, or you might be leaning on them, or both. Or you might go to a deeper level, or there might be something you have to address with them. Setting a boundary, talking about forgiveness, healing something. And it does very much look like there is an opportunity to heal something with male energy in your life, whether it's your own relationship to the male expression, or whether it's a key person that did something to you. If you notice that you have conflicts with authority figures or bosses or, law enforcement or something like that, there might be something that's getting ready to heal. And once you get past that, you'll have a more true expression where you're not bucking up against things for the sake of it because of a program that's within you. So just kind of look out for that sometimes more subtle manifestation of this 10th house. Because, the eclipse is going to bring it very, very current. If you want more information on how you might see this eclipse manifest, look for Annie Botticelli eclipses in Capricorn or eclipses in the 10th house. It's the same energy. You can find that on my YouTube channel. And I also have an eclipse playlist on my homepage, but you can search for it organically. If you search for it in YouTube, you're more likely to find it. You might find it on Google, but it would be easier to search in YouTube. So I suggest that all Leos do the search for Annie Botticelli eclipses in Capricorn, and you will get more details into how you might see this manifest. I also recommend that you watch, and that's for all Leos, eclipses in Taurus or the 2nd house, because that is the sign that the eclipse is in. There is a Scorpio eclipse in May, but we'll talk about the manifestations of that one in the May report. But you can get a leg up and look for my eclipses in Scorpio video, because that's also going to give you information on what could be happening at this time, because they dovetail in their energetics. And you can see some of the May eclipse energies come in March or April. Okay. So now from the Placidus perspective, a Placidus chart is different than a whole house chart. I believe they're equally as valid. They're just different layers of truth. The Placidus chart, those of you who are in the July born or 0 to 10 degree spectrum, of the Leo chart, you are going to experience this from the Placidus perspective in the 10th house as well. But all of you are still having a possible manifestation in the 9th house, because since it's in an early degree, it could be very close to the line between your 9th house. And all of you August born, and 11 degrees to the rest of the sign, you all will have this eclipse actually from the Placidus perspective in your 8th house or very close to it. Okay, I mean not 8th house, sorry, your 9th house. So in that way, all Leos also have a chance to have manifestations from this eclipse in the 9th house. So look for my Eclipses in Sagittarius video, Annie Botticelli Eclipses in Sagittarius, to see a lot more details. But basically, we covered some of these potentials when we were talking about the Aries energies before, because the eclipse energy is going into the 9th house. The Aries energies are also in the 9th house. And this has to do with those things we talked about with different countries, different cultures, different languages, education, teaching, publishing, writing, different viewpoints, optimism, seeing things differently, and all of that. So that's definitely getting activated in more than one way in your chart at this time. Okay, so I've given you lots to work with to help you make the most of the energies this month and to help you understand the energetic patterns at work and play. And if you'd like more resources, I've got all of these here. You can additionally go to the little more button, the little arrow underneath the bottom right of the video. Click on that, and all of the links that I'm giving you here will be clickable, right? So if you're looking for reading options, including a beautiful, very detailed 45-minute audio of your birth chart for $33 from my brilliant husband, you can find that at anniebclarity.com. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. This is where you can access running a free birth chart. This is where you access my 28-day in-depth virtual coaching program called Shine for free. This is also where you'll find tons of blogs, and you get lots of other perks for being on my newsletter list. If you're looking for written horoscopes by me, always up a month early, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. If you haven't seen this site, go to it. It is so beautiful. We've got, me and my team have lots of amazing astrology-inspired blogs and healthy living blogs. We've got hypnosis for all the signs. We've got healing frequencies for all the signs. I've got the written horoscopes that I write. We have yoga for all the signs. So it's just a very beautiful, comprehensive site. If you're looking for free courses on how to manifest money and wellness, you can go to lumlife.com, my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, LUMLIFE. You can also find my astrology education courses here, including my behemoth of a master course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which you can fully utilize even if you don't want to be a professional astrologer, but it certainly will get you up to the level where you could be and show you how to make your business a success. And payment plans are available there too. Now, I've also got 2 books out and more on the way. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You will find this on the bookshelves in all major booksellers, including all the Books A Million, all the Barnes & Nobles. It's right there on the shelf. Plus, you can get it on Amazon and through any independent bookseller. And you can find Radical Prayer on Amazon, and you can order it anywhere as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.